Feminine. Hello, hello, hello. How are you guys doing? Already I'm feeling sultry, and I'm hearing baritone, like this undertone of thick honey, so a lot of you could start experiencing some voice shifts as well, or getting used to talking in your lower register. If I remember my analysis on the back end correctly, with the age range of the people who watch me, that would make sense. That would make sense because my largest audience of viewers are, of course, female, and they range from their early 30s to mid 40s, if I remember correctly. So it makes sense. It makes sense. So divine feminine, I feel like there are a lot of shifts and changes that's going to be happening to you, and they're calling it spiritual puberty. So it's not going to be like what you learn in your health books or what you learn in school when you're an adolescent preparing for puberty to become a teenager, but it's similar. They're equating it out to the changes that even men go through just before their midlife crisis. And now this is taking me back to, I don't know who I was having this conversation with. And I think I know who it was. And I was making this joke about how we're very aware of men having midlife crisis, right? And they're already a handful. We're often waiting for them to catch up maturity wise. And then once they do that, it's like, bam, as soon as they catch on, they go through a midlife crisis. And then at some point, I feel like there are things that we are going to be going through too with, they're calling it a spiritual puberty. I'm feeling spacey too. Like I'm trying to ground my words. I'm trying to ground my words to catch a flow here, but it's a very air element kind of thing that's coming in divine feminine. Ooh. And I feel like the only way, or one of the major ways that you can handle this or deal with this, is you're going to have to always ground by constantly maybe cleaning, but not in an unhealthy way. But I do feel like if you don't catch it, you may feel like you have OCD or something like that. But it's just that heart and head trying to meet midway and unite to create balance in your root chakra. And a lot of that could look like you getting a dopamine release when things look clean or organized, or your soul may push you to do this now, clean this out, get in all the little cracks and crevices, put this down. You may be drawn to just a lot of things that make you feel structured. Like some of you may even get called back to unfinished paperwork, or it may catch your attention that this or that is coming up. And you're being called to a lot of structure and organization, because that's what's going to keep you grounded through the spiritual puberty is going to be happening. And it feels like a part of that has to do with even your voices dropping down to a lower register, which also happens according to the hormones as well. So on top of us having our hormones to deal with through different shifts and phases of the moon, there's a spiritual puberty kind of thing that's coming in that's very airy. And again, the only way you'll be able to ground this, or ways in which you may be drawn into grounding this, would be to seek out structure and actually do something where you feel better about yourself after you completed it. Maybe some paperwork, maybe reconstructing your closet. Some of you may be drawn to renovating something, or remaking something, remodeling something, even yourselves, but they're telling you to be careful with that. So if any of you are drawn to some sort of makeover in some sort of way, like wanting to cut your hair or wanting to do something to your skin and all, if it's not natural and it doesn't involve your water intake and your diet to transform it inside out, you're gonna regret that. So do not do anything to your body from the outside. Because another thing that's happening here surrounding the spiritual puberty is a thing called alchemy. and I'm hearing high priestess status. So a lot of you are getting into different levels of your gifts to where the way you manifest and all that kind of stuff, they're trying to get you comfortable seeing what it feels like to go within first. And it takes a lot of self-discipline. It takes it takes focus in that sense, right? You have to stop what you're doing, reprioritize things, be okay with silence in a healthy and balanced way, and of course have boundaries and things of that nature too when you're dealing with just like a lot of people, if you have children, if you have people that depend on you and all of that. But that also ties into your learning how to take those opportunities to put yourself first too, which is going to be a very important thing for you to do. Okay, wow, this was a long intro. Welcome to my newbies. Hello to my oldies. My name is Diamond and you are watching Pretty Blind Eyes. The readings held on this channel are for entertainment purposes only. The discussions held on this channel should not be taken as literal advice. I am legally blind, so I do read Braille on my cards to decipher what they are, but I'm an overall intuitive reader. In the description box below, you can find several ways to interact with me, one of which is the availability to book private readings. That calendar is open. Thank you guys for the love, support, gifts, donations, journeying with me in patience. Yes, you will start and continue to start seeing these random posts, this in and out, this left and right, because it's just where I am, you know. And I started doing what I do on YouTube based around transparency, you know, making myself vulnerable. Not making myself, allowing myself to be vulnerable. And so it should settle. I try to say settle in shell at the same time. But, well, I can't even promise you that because that's just not how it works. We're just going to call it the order of chaos in this moment, okay? But you guys are going to keep seeing things. And eventually it's going to make sense. So there's a lot of trial and error going on. And you know how the collective goes. So a lot of you could be doing that too. Taking, you know, adding a pinch of salt, trying this, redoing that. Okay, let's try it with pepper this time. Okay, no, that don't work. All right, let's add a little bit of nutmeg. Okay, we got to start all over. Oh, we need a bigger bowl. You know, I feel like that's what's going on. I mean, they're saying like you have to be comfortable with that. And it doesn't mean that your growth is stalling or that you are even confused or lost. They're wanting you to get used to the process of mixing and matching different things. You're getting into this witchery kind of energy, you know, like if you could imagine like a potbelly stove or something, and you're putting all these different ingredients together to see what works for you, because we're going to see a peak in individuality, like a lot more. Like we've started seeing it in how now people are on TikTok. You have your own little favorite creators that you like to watch. Fashion is going that way. Music is going that way. A lot of people prefer independent artists that no one really has heard yet over this mainstream stuff. All of that started first. Now what's going to happen is this inner thing where now so many different levels of things are going to be invented based off of a person's individuality from the inside out. I know I used to get this movie a lot for some of you who used to get personal readings, and that's coming in again too. If any of you want to watch that movie Inside Out, I've never seen it before. I know it has something to do with the emotions, like the different feelings and stuff. Again, that ties into the beginning of what we were talking about with that air element and that heart chakra and head chakra crown trying to unite to then ground within the root. So it's those three components there they want you to keep in mind too. To those of you who enjoy working from the chakra system, to those of you who enjoy working from crystals, whatever your preferences are, that's the main thing right there, those three components. And you just have to take them and work with them in the way that you resonate with, whatever tools, divination tools that you like. And see, that's what this is all about. I also did hear this message when I was getting ready, and y'all know I was about running water, okay, to my day ones or the ones that's been here for a while. And I heard that Spirit also wanted you guys to be mindful that the whole point, and I have said this before in other collective readings, but the whole point of magic, or you just being you rather, is you being you. And so all these different rules about, oh, you can't do that, or if you do that, this is going to fester up this is going to fester up that. the main goal and the key is just to always be aligned. And just as long as you are aligned, your path may look, it will. It's going to look not way different, but all paths lead to the same thing. But that's what we're here for, to be expansive beings and to be unique, like little snowflakes. So somebody may come to you and say that, I'm going to give you an example because I did see this on a YouTube channel one time. This person was telling a story about how they visited a tarot reader and how this tarot reader didn't keep her cards in the home with her. She would keep it outside in the shed and all that. And so then this person wanted to warn people like, hey, so y'all need to be careful with those tarot cards because a lot of you are getting into it and you don't know what you're getting into and Now, that's very true. You don't want to prematurely get into anything, but when you're called to something and you create the formula that works for you to where you know how to realign with God, you know how to realign within yourself, then your rules may be different from hers. But what I did pick up on this particular tarot reader that this person spoke on their YouTube channel was that she did horrible things with her cards. So of course she's not going to have them in the house with her because of what she used them for. That's the part she didn't tell this YouTube. You see what I'm saying? And that this YouTuber. And that's another thing. Remember, guys, I used to call them genies. Little, how tricky genies are. They tell you get 3 wishes, you fuck around and do that, but they never give you the fine print to whatever's going on. That was similar. Those people can be very tricky. So I always tell people, if you know yourself and you develop great discernment of how to read other people, then you'll know who you allow in to read for you. Because regardless, I don't care who you go to. It could be considered one of the best psychics in the world. But if that person does not align with you and your path, and if that person doesn't resonate with you, they may not be able to give you what they may have been able to give other people that may have been designed to have that experience with them. We're so unique. And that's what we're going to start learning in the next 2 to 3 years of how individualized we are, but yet how harmonious we can be as we're existing simultaneously in this, on this earth. Okay. So again, what may apply for certain people may not apply. This isn't one size fit all. And ask me how I know. I'm blind. Like that's one of the biggest things that you start to learn when you realize you can't blend in with no one else due to maybe a disability or anything else you may have going on that just makes you stick out like a sore thumb in the beginning until you alchemize it into your own and then accept that it is a part of who you are. Then you just learn how to do things Yahweh. You know what I'm saying? God's way, the way that perfectly aligns with you when it comes to what you came here to do on earth and how you came here to coexist with other people on earth, and then even how you came to exist within yourself. So yeah, I was just like, well, yeah, she's not lying. But then when I saw what she was doing, I'm like, well, shit, I wouldn't keep my tarot cards in my house either if I was doing what she was doing with her tarot cards. Yeah. So it's just, yes, please be mindful of what you open the doors up to, but just know too that you can't be led astray if you're aligning with the light, and no sudden movements until you're locked into that. Knight of Swords, Justice card, Queen of Cups. I also feel like too, Divine Feminine, a lot of things are going to become very emotional, clear to you, and it gives that energy of, ooh, I'm getting a headache on my right side and my right eye. Like, wow. I just seen somebody cover up their right eye. That looks like those symbolisms or gestures that they do in those secret societies there. Yeah, I just seen that. All right, and there's a King of Pentacles. Oh, but what I was saying was, see, is that, dang, I forgot what I was saying. Okay, oh, no, here we go. Thank you, Spirit. So yeah, you guys are going to become more attuned to your emotions and what certain things mean on a watery level. So now, first we had this air energy coming in that's helping your soul evolve and ground and get structured and everything. And then after that, then you'll start to be able to understand the emotions a lot more and how it could work for you and not against you, so that's coming next. King of Pentacles, 3 of Cups, Ten of Swords. All right, who is this right here? Let's see. Ace of Pentacles, Lover's card. Ace of Pentacles, Lover's card. Ooh, okay. Damn. Okay, I did not expect that. There's a lot of reciprocation here, and a lot of alignment here. I'm hearing alignment here. I'm hearing allocation here. So there is I don't know. I can't really say exactly who or what this energy is around you. I would assume that what I'm hearing Spirit say is anything that matches stability, security, and groundedness will come in these forms. This is a guide for some of y'all, but it just comes with when you're grounded and secure, because to me it's looking like there's a guy around you that's just starting to feel so balanced and secure in who they are, and especially when it comes to feminine energy. And for some of you, if you're real locked in, it's a lover here that just they're starting to feel confident in how to secure you. Like, it's like, to me, they're giving me an energy of they finally get it. And it's like the more you ground, the more they'll finally get it too. In a sense, you guys are super connected, whoever that guy is. For some of you, that's just like all the grounded energy in that sort of King of Pentacles energy. You'll inhabit to like ground more things around you and get more structure. Like either way though, with that energy, and when we're talking about a spouse there, or someone that could be in love with someone else, they just are feeling secure in the connection with you. Like they're feeling purposeful. They are starting to understand their role. You know, I'm not seeing no insecurities in it. It's like they're just like, wow, I finally get it. And you know what's so interesting is that Spirit said with that Queen of Cups that came out just before the King of Pentacles came out, when it mentioned how aligned and attuned you guys are going to be in your emotions, that's feminine energy, the water element, right? So that's when this is going to align perfectly with the King of Pentacles energy. So yeah, for some of you, these are twins. Happy 11/11 too, by the way. So yeah, for some of you, these are twins. The more there's something going on where they're starting to understand. Like, I just feel like for some of you, these guys may have felt like you were too hard to attain or understand, or, you know, but I feel like through your flaws and imperfections, or your quirkiness, or whatever this is going on, and through your instability of not having the emotions grounded, they're coming in feeling kind of like you're triggering that hero syndrome that they say the male energy has, or that masculine energy has. Well, when it's balanced anyway, because sometimes it could tip the scales and guys could be trying to save hoes and all that kind of stuff. But when it's healthy, this feels extremely healthy. They feel like I can lead. I feel more like a man. So you guys are entering into this energy where, or this dynamic where you're tapping into, or you're gonna start grounding that feminine energy of emotions, that water element, and it's starting to now, I feel like, grant this person so much security, like in a sense of, wow, divine feminine isn't as perfect as I thought, but they're not so imperfect that it's unattractive. They're just, I can tell they're human now, and I feel like I can handle that. Like, you know, I feel like sometimes the scales would tip one way or the other. I feel like sometimes they may have felt or was afraid that you would be too much, you know, or they would never understand. And then maybe on another end, when it tipped too far over, they felt like you're just impossible, or they're not good enough. They're, you know, that you deserve someone better. And then in that middle spot here is what I'm seeing it level out is through different things that you're going through now. They're seeing, I think I can do this. I really feel like I can handle this. This makes sense. This is who I am. So this person isn't as perfect, but they're not imperfect. I see my beauty in this person. You see, it is. I'm not gonna lie, it's this whole twin dynamic of balance happening here. Wow. So it is inner work going on. Magician card. Look at this. Told you, Hierophant. There they are. 5 of Cups. Yeah, some of them, there are some actual guys here. They're seeing their imperfections in you. They're seeing similarities. Probably when it comes to emotions, mood balance, things like that. They're seeing themselves in you, and I don't know, they look inspired though. They look confident. They feel better. now that they see themselves in you in some sort of way. And it's like, I feel like there are some certain things that they know they have the antidote for. You know, they have the cure for it. Or at least they saying at least the antidote. Like, some of you, this may be something that may not be curable right now. This is designed to be there to help you get through different obstacles in life as you evolve. You know, it's kind of like me having my blindness without a cure. It's gonna always present itself in a way where it's letting me know, hey, here comes another obstacle. This means some change is going to come in. This is going to give you growth. You know, it may hurt at first, but watch what resolutions you come up with and watch what great inventions are going to be made through it. It's the same thing. I feel like for some of you, there are some like emotional things. It's just, it is who you are. Like me, for instance, I have PMDD. That doesn't really a cure for that, right? And there's still some mystery around it. But it could be relative to something that this person may have that is like, oh, that's very relative to what I do with it. You know, through you, they may admire the way you handle certain things or how self-aware you are. You understand how self-aware you are, how lighthearted you are about it, or how resilient you are through it. This is what's triggering them to be okay within themselves to then see themselves inside of you. Wow, damn. Happy 11/11, y'all. Wow. This is a strong mirror factor for cups in a healthy way. King of Wands. I feel like whoever this is you're connected to, you're definitely inspiring a lot of levels of creativity now. Next level. Just when they thought it couldn't get any better. They could feel themselves falling in love with you, not all over again, but just even on a higher level. It's like, did this ever get old? 3 of Pentacles Chariot card. Yeah, I feel like there would be more cooperation and participation with this person. Again, it's because they're getting confident in the dynamic. They're starting to understand the two of you. They're starting to find their purpose in y'all connection. This is very spiritual. And what this feels like it's going to do for you, Divine Feminine, is launch you into a lot of High Priestess behavior and activities. And, you know, you guys may become drawn to just really practicing healing more often, just like as a part of who you are now, not just when you want to manifest this or that, or not on the level where, oh, the world is so busy, I got to get to it when I can. No, there's some everyday life type shit about to come in, just as important as it is for you to take care of your, you know, brushing your teeth or bathing and all that. There's some sort of level of developing your spiritual gifts or practicing on your spiritual gifts here that's going to become an everyday thing. Damn near a part of your structure within relationships with your family, friends, and everything. 8 of Wands. It's like you're finding your identity in that, because I kind of laughed at this too this morning. I'm in the, y'all know I'm about running water again, right? And I was thinking about the Christmas event that's coming up that my granny wants to have. So my mom's pulling everybody together to get it done. And I'm like, oh, I'm going to bring my table and everything. And I got to chuckling. And to those of you who don't know and that's new, sometimes at the community events and stuff, I'll set my table up and I'll do readings for anybody that want any. And I notice the more I do it, the more creative I get with giving them different options where they just don't have to get tarot if they don't want. And I feel good about it because it's also helping them develop their discernment of what they resonate with too. Like, I'm not really feeling the cards, but I'll put my little wish in the wishing bowl, or, I'll touch a little bit of the joss paper, whatever. And so I started laughing because I was like, they're going to be like, this girl just bring that table everywhere she goes. But that's the thing. You see what I'm saying about people, this level of individuality that's going to come out where you're putting yourself in these harmonious connections and you're interacting with other people, but as yourself, and that's just what it is. It's like, I feel like that's how it's going to be for me next year. If Diamond comes, you bring that table, so go ahead and da. And that's the beauty in it. We were taught to just conform to society, the way society is structured, that we lose ourselves in that, and we end up being unhappy because we're not being who we are in these settings, these group settings. And that's what it's going to be about. Again, learning to be interdependent, or just learning that snow is snow, and collectively it looks beautiful once it lands on the ground, but no snowflake is the same, right? So if as above, so below. So if that's how snow works, could you imagine how we truly are and how we truly want to be with the inside out, you know? And because at one point I thought, oh, now they probably gonna think I'm doing too much, or like this is supposed to be a time I'm just supposed to be bonding with my family, which to me in my head, I'm already telling myself that means, just sitting around eating and da 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 da. And then it hit me again. I'm like, no, that's not going to be me being myself. I have to show up as who I am and what makes me happy while being there with them. And it's just like when a kid they discover they love music and they get very attached to their keyboard or, their radio. Look, LL Cool J. You know how in the 80s, the guys was walking around with the boom boxes and stuff. And then they take them on the streets and shit. Take their boom box and then they all start breakdancing. It turns into something else because everybody is just showing up as themselves, no matter what that looks like. So if my bonding with my family looks like me bringing my table and that's how I feel like I give love or I put out my currency, then I have to get used to doing that. And they also, and I don't know what it's going to do for them. It may inspire them. So again, the whole point is we can't conform to what we think things are supposed to be like and look like, or else we'll never evolve as a unit or as a collective, or when we're engaging with others in relationships and stuff. If nobody's really showing up like themselves, but we're showing up how we think people want us to or how people told us to. I think that's one thing about my family, though, that people are so drawn to with them is that although we haven't fully mastered it, we understand that still we got a little something. We got a hang of it a little bit to the point where everybody do show up as themselves a little. Like, as far as we're very all inclusive and we welcome everybody. Like, we're very open arms and loving. Like, everybody feels like family when they come to what we have or when they visit us and meet us for the first time. Now that part we got, but it's a lot. Well, never mind. My uncles don't give a damn. They're going to do what they want to do. Anything to make them happy, right? And so I just feel like just as long as what you're bringing into the group is not chaotic, it's not tearing someone down, it's not fucking up the event where a fight or something that broke out, why not? Just show up like yourself. And for me, that's what I came to terms with that not even an hour ago, y'all. So I wanted to use me as an example in this moment right here for you, but to understand that you're coming to a family event or any kind of event as yourself. Like, and if there are laws and rules that like prohibit it, then maybe that's God saying, hey, this one ain't for you. Sit this one out. You're going to get misaligned if you fuck around and you go to this and you can't be yourself. Because being yourself and showing up how you need to show or want to show up that makes you feel happy on the inside, that amplifies currency in all different types of ways. That gives out blessings and you receive blessings because guess what? You're open. All of your chakras are aligned because you're happy. So that energy is flowing in and out. And again, you don't know what you may give birth to when it comes to everybody spending time with each other. That you might have that one thing, just like everybody. Some people might like grandma's pumpkin pie. Some people might like Auntie Gloria's mac and cheese because they enjoy making it and it is good. But there are other things that you can bring to the table or that you can bring within you to something that you don't have to put on pause because this is what a family event's supposed to look like. Oh, I'm not supposed to do that because, at a Christmas event, we just supposed to eat and I want to bond. Your way of bonding with the family could be what it is that you love and that you bring there. It might change the way the interaction look at first, but people can learn to get with it because if it's positive vibes, who wouldn't want it? And so for me, if that's how I feel like I give love and I feel love when I show up with my table, then damn it, I'm bringing my table. It's portable, it folds, it's not heavy. So, and that's what it is. And on top of that, though, my granny loves stuff like that. And this is the event she want to have. And it's a way to compromise and intertwine everything. That's what I'm saying. We're about to get into this level of individuality where we're going to learn how to engage and interact with one another as ourselves, still in a harmonious way and simultaneously. And that's all energy. That's true balance. That's when you're in the light kind of energy. Because if you notice, when people talk about spiritual experiences that they have, what is one of the first things that they always say? And this is very true because it always fascinates me. I don't care how many times it happens. It always shocks me of how a million things could be going on, right? During this whatever encounter that you may have that's very, very spiritual, right? It's kind of like it defies the laws of gravity or anything like that. You just know something unique is happening to you. What's the first thing that usually happens? A million things that the first thing most people notice conscientiously, channeling, and as best as they can, is that a lot of things are going on. And in your mind, you're like, how does all of this make sense? Like, all this stuff is going on, all these sounds, all these different people doing things, up high, down low, all around, in this, outside of that, and yet everything is harmonious. Because that's how it really is without the divide. When you're not in your own way, when you're open. So, that's just what it is. And so if that's true, when you're having these miraculous spiritual engagements or encounters, then what do you think can happen when you find your heaven on earth, or when you start to tap into yourself, and when you start to just let go and just be who you are, and just, then put yourself in these events or group settings and still be who you are? High priestess, hello. That's what it looks like. It takes me to the Halloween event that I did. Like a million things were going on. But because I had my table and I was doing what I love to do, nothing felt disruptive to the other. Like nothing felt chaotic. It didn't. And that's what Spirit wants you guys to pay attention to in that. Okay. Now let's look at your love. Wow. Okay. Woo. Okay, let's see here. Look at your love. Your love feels so cozy and bunny-like a cottontail bunny, So this tells me sensitivity. There's a lot of sensitivity coming in. Maybe on both ends. Maybe you guys are going to be more empathetic towards one another, more that, I was going to say understanding, but I feel like we've been there so much that I feel like empathy is stronger than to be understanding. I feel like anybody could pretend to understand, but to be empathetic, that's something you can't lie around. Because around understanding, it could be manipulated too, because a lot of people will take this but lead that as like, I understand this, but I don't get this part. And then they expect for people to just accept that, well, at least they understood like 1/3 of something, blah, blah, blah. No, that's not it. But when you're having empathy for someone, you're really infused with that energy, and it is that of your own. So this ties into the part in your first reading where for some of you an actual twin came out that's starting to see themselves inside of you, to the point where it's inspiring them and giving them security and comfort in who they are. Some of it you're awakening you're awakening something inside of them that I feel like was there, but they never had time to work on, or they never knew it was. I feel like they knew it was there mentally, but they never felt it in their heart. And now that they are starting to feel it in their heart, it's moving them. It's moving them. There's a leak in this old building and my soul has got to move. See, Chariot card, Page of Swords. So in love here, beauty's only skin deep. Yeah. My friends ask, what do I see in you? Yeah, so again, a lot of what I just said in the first half about conforming to what society expects, what society says is beauty, all that. So they're going through, again, they're even going through this inside out thing, but theirs feel more cerebral in a sense of these must be some very logical people, you know, and they did come out as the King of Pentacles. It's like they're finally able to line up the facts, right? They're finally able to they're saying quantify it, but they're finally able to you know, I don't know, make periodic tables and shit. You know, pie charts and bar graphs and shit like that. They have a legend on the map that just, you know, they feel like they can really work with this now, or they're about to arrive to that point because they have these key factors like, oh, I could touch it. I could, you know, something's materializing to the point for them where now it's fully making sense because it's not just stuck in their heads. They're starting to ground it. You see what I'm saying? So you two are aligned in that within your loves, that there's crown and heart chakra here that's trying to unite within your bodies to where you guys are going to ground. But your element is going to come out watery and theirs is going to be the grounded energy, and you guys are going to mirror each other to keep each other afloat and, you know, balance and stuff. And it feels extremely healthy, just very healthy, and it just flows. It's not like, oh, I got to help or rescue this person, or or either your lover feeling like, oh, this person is going to be a threat to me or a liability, or I don't know if I can trust. I'm going to put this person through. No. There's a lot of toxicity that's just like they're detoxed or detoxifying for sure, you know, and stepping into their own. They're feeling like they're not adopting anybody else's thoughts and opinions anymore because they're finally able. This is so cute. They're finally able to make their own. So for a lot of you, that's why they said it was cerebral, like a mental thing, because they had a lot of mental disturbances going on in their head where they couldn't. And a lot of people did a lot of thinking for them, a lot of decision making for them. But now they're starting to root that. They're starting to have their own thoughts and opinions. And now it's all starting to make sense to them because it's like, you know, and this all ties into them too, learning how to trust their own intuition. But I don't see a lot of gut energy for them. I don't see their solar plexus. For them, they had a lot of mind things going, a lot of mental things going on where they could never breathe enough to have their own thoughts, to then have their own opinions, to then make their own decisions. So a lot of you are dealing with these counterparts here that are being controlled, and they're just now arriving to their own thoughts. They're finally hearing their own voice. They're finally seeing what it feels like when the intuition says, hey, that don't feel right. But you know why they're feeling it? Because whatever they feel, I'm telling you, these are some earthy people y'all are dealing with. They run and actually look some stuff up. And I feel like some of them are coming across a lot of resources that are applicable to their unique individual connection with you and their own individuality. They're also being able to connect what they find to you and what they see in you too. So now they're starting to feel confident because now they're able to defend themselves if necessary, if someone try them, because they're finding their own unique individuality within themselves and what it means when they are dealing with other people and connecting with other people. It's less easier for anyone to brainwash these guys here. So a lot of you, to me, what Spirit is saying, in your love connections, you are dealing with a lot of brainwashed masculine energy here. A lot of them really did not think for themselves, you know. They didn't know how. You know, 10 of Swords, 3 of Cups. Yeah, so to me, in your love connection here, there's a lot of, wow, I'm hearing self-acceptance, but there's a lot of things too. You're going to see within them that they are also going to master how to just let things go sometimes and not like feel like either they have to kill it off before it kills them, or that they have to control, you know? So a lot of them are learning to let God because they're seeing it actually works. I feel like they're also too, though, are starting to get familiar with that anxious feeling that they do get when they feel fearful to let go and let God. Is kind of stimulating them in a way where they are taking heed to it, where it's like, oh, my tummy is flipping. This must be my intuition turning up to like guide me. And because they like that feeling, because to them that feeling is like, okay, the on button is on. Now I know these are some practical people. When I say these twins here that you're dealing with, these masculines, they are very component or mechanical oriented, if that makes any sense. It's like it gives factory energy, conveyor belt energy, you know, like things have to be chronological for them. They like get it because it's the only way they can catch on to patterns and get it. And so for them with their intuition, I feel like some of them are going to catch on that when they get that nervous feeling, they're going to learn a mechanic or a formula to deal with it in a way that's mechanical to them. You know, don't tell them no different. Just let them cook, because I mean, if it works, it works. At that point, they're gonna feel like it's mechanical, but it's just gonna be them letting go and letting God. But they needed to feel something to know, like, okay, it's kickstarting. This is it. This is what's gonna happen. And don't get me wrong, that's a huge human thing, period. Because even with myself now, I've learned I have to do like a card warm up. I don't have to, but I feel like it helps a lot more when I do. Because I've learned it takes about 10 to 15 minutes to be all in my zone, you know? And I feel like we all even have it as creatives in some sort of way. Like you have this thing that just pow, and it sends you in that zone. Like we all, once we find our trigger, you know, a positive trigger. And I feel like that's what this is for these masculines here. One of their triggers, their intuition, they never knew what that was supposed to feel like. And some of them are catching on, oh, this is what I feel like when my intuition button has been turned on. All right, let me see what's going to go on. You know, instead of looking at their nervousness as a warning sign, it's like, all right, let me chill. Let me see what's finna happen. Because I think last time when this happened and I just let go and let God, a lot of things didn't work out because I didn't push against it or anything. I didn't try to control it. I just kind of played in that energy to see how far it's going to take me. How far am I going to go with it? See, Queen of Wands, Ace of Wands, Empress. Damn. Who is this? Is this you? Seven of Wands, Seven of Cups. Yeah, a lot of you are about to gain some committed leadership roles is what I'm hearing here. That because this is the love section, I don't know, they just love hearing you talk or something here. They love your confidence. You know, they love your transparency is what this feels like. They love your creativity. I feel like this is so clear in their love sections because they're allowing it to be clear now. They're starting to catch on to certain things when it comes to you. It's like they're finally learning you. Like, I can read Divine Feminine now. Oh, that's how their creative flow works. Or this is what they need in order to be creative. You know, but then they're realizing that it's not them sacrificing themselves in order to see you do what they want you to do, but it's them allowing themselves to be who they are to then allow you to be who you are, and then for God to then show them what they wanted or have been desiring to see inside of you that is within them. So a lot of deep work. And you as that Queen of Wands and that Empress, they're going to realize they've been blocking you from being that by trying to control things out of fear within themselves. So the more fearful that they were, and then they was looking at the connection as, well, I just don't want to be hurt. I just don't want to deal with this or that because I'm afraid you might do this or that. It became a you versus them thing all the time. Right? But now that they are letting things flow, they're going to finally get what they want out of you. And all they had to do they're going to realize it was so simple. We all will in different ways, but for them, it will be in connection to you and when it comes to trust and honesty. You know, so, all right, Divine Feminine, my name is Diamond. You're watching Pretty Blind Eyes, and I'll see you next go round. Bye.